Welcome to the magical journey beyond mediocrity, where the mystical and the practical become aligned. You're listening to Meant for More, the Seeker's Guide to Success, with your host, Seeker's Guide and Coach, Kristen Lloyd. Kristen guides you through mindset shifts to increase your consciousness and live your best life. So let's leave mediocrity behind and step into your magical, magnificent life with Kristen.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the Meant for More show, the Seeker's Guide to Success. I am your host and Seeker's Guide, Kristen Lloyd. I am so happy to have you here, whether you are tuning in live or listening to the recording. So welcome. Today, I have a very special guest who is very near and dear to my heart. I met this amazing woman in 2015, just last year, and she has absolutely changed my life. And once you hear her story, it is very likely that wherever you are in the world, that she will change yours too. Her healing light shines bright, and her message is transformational. Dora Locklear is the founder and owner of Breath of Life Kennesaw, a center for the healing arts in the Atlanta, Georgia area. She's a guide to freedom and clarity for people stuck in a rut. She teaches you step by step how to connect to your inner wisdom and how to live from that place to increase your leadership capabilities, promote personal healing and wellness, enjoy richer relationships, and to live a life of prosperity, all in ease and flow, which is always the best part. Welcome, Dora.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I am awesome. I'm awesome, and I'm delighted to be here with you and with listeners and those who will listen after this.
Yes, I am so excited that you're here. I wanted to share everyone. I know Dora personally. It was divinely guided how we met because my journey to Atlanta was one that I resisted for a long time. And the spirit said, I have bigger plans for you, Kristen. And it was all very magical how you and I met. And I hold that near and dear to my heart. And I want to share with everyone that you have a healing arts center in Atlanta, but that you have clients all over the world.
That's correct.
And you are originally from Georgia.
Yes.
In the U.S. And you are the owner of a premier healing arts center here. How is that journey to where you are as the owner of this premier healing arts center in Atlanta?
Was a very interesting journey. And yes, I am originally from Georgia. I'm originally from Effingham County, right outside of Savannah. And yes, I have an accent and quite a bit of Southern sass. So the journey, 28 years in direct sales. I spent supporting women. I noticed that they were looking outside of themselves a lot for approval and validation. And I've always been an observer and a studier of people and behavior. So I think I was spending those 28 years collecting information. In 2000, my best friend since kindergarten introduced me to a Japanese healing art called Reiki, and that falls under the umbrella of energy medicine and healing arts. And so I began to explore alternative ways to relax and to heal and just to feel better, because I was a mother of 4, and that's a lot of stress, working a business, leading women, taking care of a house and a family and all of that kind of stuff. So in 2009, my best friend was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and obviously my world changed. And I really began a quest to awaken and evolve. And part of that was to learn to help women come home to themselves. And so in 2012, I was separated from my husband that year, and one morning I was meditating and I heard, you're going to sell your house and you're going to move to Kennesaw and you're going to open an energy medicine practice. And I thought, well, yeah, right. Okay. So for a few days I ignored it, but it kept coming. And long story short, we put the house on the market. It sold in 4 days, and I moved to Kennesaw a month later. And a few days, there is some good, really good parts to the story. A few days after the closing, my husband and I reconciled. And I started telling a few people, once I got the boxes and stuff unpacked, that I was in Kennesaw and that I was practicing Reiki. And literally, Kristen, within 2 weeks, there were so many people wanting appointments that my husband, and I call him Music Man because he's a retired band director and writes music for a living now. He said, you're going to have to get some space because we cannot have all these people coming in and out of our house. And so I began looking. And the process is not easy. It was hard to find practice space. And I thought, well, surely I'm not the only person that's going through this. And wouldn't it be really cool? And the vision just kept evolving. I just kept listening, and it would evolve every week. There would be some new layer to the story. And in a nutshell, I found a place and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if we could have a whole bunch of practitioners who could come here and we could offer healing arts almost like a buffet or a smorgasbord for people to come and choose from a wide variety of different practitioners, try things out, see what they like, come back for more, and make it all taste as good as dessert. So in the last 2.5 years, we've grown from there. And so now we have 8 practitioners and about 2,400 square feet of space. And every month we're growing. So that's the journey of that.
That is absolutely amazing. So you offer more than Reiki. You have, like you said, a smorgasbord of services. There are different practitioners that practice different things in the center. And it is so gratifying, and I so desire this experience for as many people who are willing to receive it for themselves. But it is so gratifying to come to work with a team of people who understand abundance, who understand prosperity, who understand that, collaborating is better than competing. Each person, has lots of good experience. We have a variety of different life coaches. We have different energy medicine. We've got somebody that does Akashic Records readings. We've got someone who works with student and adult athletes to help them, up level their game and their physical thing. We have classroom space. We have event space. There's all kinds of goody things going on here. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I noticed on your website that you promote connection, collaboration, and building community. And before we go, we're going to make sure that everybody has access to your website so that they can check it out as well. But can you share with us why these things are so important to you as the owner of Breath in Life and as a seeker?
Ooh, great question. It is true that no man or woman is an island. And I know that there are a lot of people there are a lot of seekers. I'm so impressed with all of the C's of your seeker list. And when you're connected with other people, then you can connect from a heart space. And Breath of Life loves to connect people and bring them together. We host every second Friday night of the month. We host an event called Connections Cafe, where we bring women entrepreneurs and women who love to connect with other entrepreneurs. We just bring them together for dinner and drinks and intentional networking and just connecting. The collaboration part stems from being in the business world, in addition to direct sales, but being in the business world too, where there's an underlying belief that there's only one space at the top. And I think that that's what led me to seek and to look, beyond. But when you're collaborating with other people, there's plenty of abundance and plenty of prosperity for everybody. And 1 + 1 becomes 3. It becomes 5. It becomes, 15. Exponential numbers. There's plenty of room at the top of everything. We have, and I'll give you an example. We have 3 different people in our center that practice Reiki. We all have enough business. We all have gifts to share. We all have unique gifts to share. So my Reiki is not the same as, say, another practitioner. Her name's Bonnie Cole. My Reiki is not the same as her Reiki. And Reiki is becoming more and more well known. And for example, one of the vocational life coaches, Robin Crawford, she was attuned to Reiki level 1 this past weekend by someone who rented our classroom space and taught a Reiki 1 class that Robin had been great friends with for a long time. So lots of different things going on with that. And then the community part. This is super important to me because I think we need to all be connecting in community. There's a saying where I come from, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting somebody that's, stuck in the negativity of the news or the political frenzy that's going on right now. There's plenty of things that will seduce us to what I call the dense side.
Right.
But when you're in a community of like-hearted people, you're focusing on self-awareness. You're focusing on self-growth. You're focusing on connecting and collaborating with other people. And there's not a week that goes by that someone does not walk through the front door of this center or that I talk to on the phone that says, oh my gosh, I have been looking for a place just like this. And so I ask them, well, where are you looking? And they say, well, I'm looking online. And what I would like to say and what I would like to appeal to people is to say, get out from behind your computer, get off of your phone, and let's all meet face to face and be part of building that community. Mm-hmm. Things are changing, and it's really important to connect.
Yeah. I love the online space because we can connect from far away. However, I've also physically been in your center, and there is a very special energy that is emitted from that space. There is a very special light that you can feel energetically. Like you walk in and it's instantaneous, like calm, just, and that's where I feel the breath of life is so, so apropos because you walk in and it's like, you want to breathe deeper because it's such a relaxing, energetically light place. Where you were talking about, the heavy energy, and our listeners may not have picked up on that, but you were talking about denseness and dense energy. And when you walk into your center, there's a very light flowing energy, which just makes people want to come back for more.
That is very gratifying to hear because that is one of the dear things for my heart. And I do my very best. Yes, everybody says that when they walk through here, and that's very gratifying. But I also want people to know that I bring that same energy when I work with people virtually. And it's just part of who and what I am. Mm-hmm. And, there's a saying around here, we're breathing new life into healing and wellness and awareness and evolving and just making yourself better.
Yeah.
It's great to hear that people feel that way. We have some people, this is so funny and I love them, but they'll call and they'll say, is your lobby open today? I just want to come and sit for a few minutes. And I'll say, sure. And they come and they sit in the couch or the comfy chair and they listen to the water fountain and the soft, music. And it's not a sleepy kind of relaxation. It's very life infusing. Mm-hmm. So they just come and sit for 10 or 15 minutes and then they'll say, okay, I got my fix. see you
That's
later.
amazing.
And we give them a hug and they go on.
But that's exactly the type of environment that it is. And I completely believe that you can get that, you can get that experience in the virtual world as well as in the physical world. However, I completely agree that building community, in your local area is also important. And so if people are coming in town, into Atlanta, this is definitely, you're not necessarily a tourist attraction, but it would definitely be a place to come for some of that healing energy, or virtually for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the common characteristics of the women that you work with? You mentioned earlier that you had spent 28 years in direct sales and that you picked up on some very important characteristics that women were struggling with. I'm going to kind of ask two questions in one. Has this propelled you to do what you're doing now with women, all of that kind of insight and awareness that you gained about women? And are those the same characteristics that you help women move forward or beyond, these characteristics, these struggles that they have?
Mm-hmm. Well, to answer the question, let me tell you a little story. I remember one night I was standing in front of my bathroom mirror, and I don't exactly remember what the events of that day were, but I know that I was spent. I was spent emotionally, physically, spiritually, relationship-wise, and I had spent the whole day efforting, which is one of my least favorite words, efforting. But I had spent the whole day efforting and hustling as a woman, a mother, pets, house, cars, homeschooling, yard work, leading a team of 150 women, everything that was on my plate. And I looked in the mirror and I did not recognize the woman that was reflected back to me. I felt lost and confused. I cried a lot. I wasn't happy in my marriage, but it wasn't because of my husband. And I knew at that time, it was just like I had one of those, what I call come to Jesus moments. I knew that there had to be more, but I wasn't taking care of myself physically, emotionally, and certainly not spiritually. And what I wanted was someone to help guide me. I didn't want somebody to tell me what I needed to think or exactly what I needed to do, but I wanted someone to help guide me. And so that's the kind of woman that I work with. A woman who knows there has to be something better than the life that she's living, but more importantly, better than the way that she feels about herself. And that can look like a lot of different things, but each person has an intuitive voice that lives within them. It is the voice of their higher power. Some people call that God. Some people call that spirit. For some people, that is Jesus. It's different for different people, but it is the voice of the soul and the voice of the spirit that lives within you. And so what I call myself is a guidess, and it's kind of a play off guide and goddess. And I've not heard it used anywhere else, so I'm claiming it as a guidess, as a light bearer, as an awakener. But I'm not like a coach. I don't tell people what to do or what to think. I guide them to their own truth. But if you're a woman who's living for everybody else, and I know how easy it is to get caught up in all of that, if you're living for everybody else except for yourself, or yourself only as a last resort, then I'd like to help guide you back home to yourself so that you can discover your own truth and you define what that is. So those are some of the common characteristics of women that I work with some great results, I might add. I'm very proud of the results that my clients experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so the guidance is not necessarily, it sounds like it's definitely not cookie cutter, right?
No, it's customized. So I don't, when we get together for the first time, virtually or in person, we just look at a lot of different areas of your life. And then I start with the energy medicine work, and I start going to the root of belief systems that you have, experiences that you have. Maybe you have some trauma that's held in your physical or your emotional body. And one of my Dora-isms is that wisdom is always found in the emotional body, because that's where we carry everything, where we feel. So I start digging into that and peeling away the layers, like peeling away onions, and looking at the root energies, because you can read a book, you can do a self-help program, you can have an appointment with a physician, you can work with a coach, you can go on a diet, you can do XYZ. But the bottom line and the universal truth is, if you do not address the root energy, it will always find a way to reappear in the same form or a different form. So I help women clear away that root energy. And I do want to clarify that I work mostly with women, but I would not turn a man who really was a seeker away.
Right. So the it sounds like the common denominator is that of all of your clients is really that they know, or they have this yearning that they're meant for more than where they are at that point in time.
True.
That they know that there's something beyond that place where they're at. And so they come to you to tap into that intuitive voice, or to get to the root of that energy so that they can move forward.
Yeah. Another Dorism that I have is the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth of the excavation. And so if you're aware that you're digging a rut and that you're on the way to your grave, but you want something different, you want something more, it's time to help get yourself out of that hole.
Right. That's so insightful. That's deep.
Live in the light and choose love. That's what I help people do.
Yeah. And that sounds like so then, to dig a little deeper, that helps them to live a life on purpose.
True.
Versus going through the motions.
True. And there's such a freedom in that. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you will not ever face a challenge, or that you'll never argue with your spouse, or overreact with something with your children, or never have a day where you're going to really have to bust your behind to get what you want for your goal. But what it means is that you are guided by your inner light, your inner voice, your connection, your divinity, to your higher power, which is within you. And if you're guided from that place, then you already know your truth, and you're standing in your personal power, and you're more aware of not only yourself, but the people that are part of your circle, the support systems. You're able to better assess and discern. There's that word discern, like developing a muscle about what's really good for you and the choices. Are you getting the results that you want? But you're standing in your place of personal power. The person that I shared with you just a few minutes ago that was standing in the mirror, looking at herself in the mirror, she did not have any personal power. And what little personal power she did, she was not connected to it. That's not a good place to live.
Would you consider that point a time in your life when you knew that you were meant for more? Or was there another significant point in life?
Well, I've had a few life occurrences where I realized that, I really could not continue to make the choices that I was making if I was going to act in my best interest. One was when I decided that I was not going to be married anymore to my first husband. I had lived a lot of years in fear in that relationship. And then when my friend died, I had a huge spiritual awakening, and it was like the reemergence of a lot of gifts that I had stifled for a very long time. And it was almost like somebody pulled the plug out of the dam, and I didn't have a choice but to be carried with the current. There's another Dorism that I have that says, let go or be dragged. It's not my personal, I didn't come up with that personally, but I use it a lot. And you just had to be carried forward with, it was like Spirit said, you're going to be transplanted somewhere else, and you could either let go or be dragged. And then, when I moved here, and there have been some days that I've experienced that as the owner of a business because, there's a lot of people think, oh, you're running a spiritual business and everything is love, so we can just do whatever the hell we want to, and there are no professional or personal boundaries. And, there are people who might be late with their rent, or there are people who don't show up for their appointments, or there are people who might misunderstand what kind of services are being offered here because, you can step on some toes. And that's never our intention. Our intention is always to choose love and to be loved, but we're not affiliated with any particular religion. We accept and love all people, and try to see them on a soul level and help them connect back to that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's deep, and that's important to remember. The picture that I got in my head is kind of like, like people at a festival, like a bohemian festival, like dancing, like, oh, just go with the wave, go with the current. And running a spiritual business is, you still have your professionalisms in place. You still have.
I certainly hope so.
Huh?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. I mean, you still show up for appointments. You still, there's still boundaries and respect in place, but it made me think of like, hey, dude, just chill it. But that's not what running a spiritual business is about. That may be a perception, but you're still running a business.
That is true.
Yeah. So there are many times where you have felt meant for more. And I love that let go or be dragged Doraism. I think that that's amazing because it's so true. A let go and be dragged. And I think that letting go also resonates with being in alignment, because when you're holding on to something really tight or you're forcing something, we're not in alignment.
No.
And so I thought that this was a great question to lead into. Describe a time or situation when you were or are most in alignment and feeling on purpose, that you're living purposefully.
Few things come to mind. The first is when I'm teaching. I believe that I'm a teacher at heart. I believe that, for example, when I'm teaching Reiki, that's, level 1, level 2, or at the master level, teaching people for self-healing, things like that. I just feel so turned on and tuned in and, tapped on when I'm in that alignment, because I believe that is my purpose, and it's certainly my passion. Another time is, and I'll use this as an example, this past Friday night was our Connections Cafe, and there was a woman there who is a former client of mine. She was part of one of my coaching packages, and she shared about how she had struggled for over 40 years with debilitating depression, from some things that had happened with her and to her as a young girl. And to sit there and witness her talk about how learning that it wasn't her fault, that she had her own personal power, and that she had been able to come off of her medication, and that she finally felt free of the demon of depression, I know I felt the tear well up in my eye, not because I thought, oh, I'm so great that I was able to help her with that, but because witnessing, I'm about to cry now thinking about it, witnessing women connect to who and helping them remember who and what they are as divine beings is the most gratifying thing. It is simply awesome. And to know that she has experienced that, and it was my work to work with her, even though I do not claim credit for that. I know that I influenced that. But being on purpose like that and just hearing her share her personal story, oh my gosh, I felt so in alignment and so on purpose. And the other way is when I'm choosing love. And that's not always easy because the mind really tries to get in the way and mess with you, to convince you that, people might be hurting you on purpose, or that somebody's trying to withhold something from you, or when relationships are, going through growing pains, or when you're having to say, I'm just not going to tolerate something anymore, and releasing somebody that's in a relationship. We're still
setting boundaries.
Yeah, we're still in alignment because we're choosing love. But I feel so in the ease and flow when I'm teaching and when I'm witnessing women standing in their power and when I'm choosing to stand in my own.
Yeah. Ease and flow is something that we talked about on last week's show. And I want to dig a little deeper into that because I think that ease and flow, alignment, and excuse me, living on purpose are all connected. And so for the listeners who are tuning in, who may not understand what living in ease and flow means, because, we have this social structure that says, oh, if you want to do this, you've got to work hard. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You've got to work long hours. And, we know running any kind of business, you've got to put things together. So you probably are working hard or working long hours, but these terms, right? Working hard, have
efforting,
right? Have a meaning. And so when you share that you're most in alignment teaching classes and that you feel most on purpose when your clients, are getting results. And I also hear you say that you're the guide and you're the guidess, so that this energy flows through you, not necessarily from you, right? So you're acknowledging that you've had a hand in this, but you don't take personal responsibility because it's that person's, they've had to do work, and you've also been guided. You've been guided by spirit, God, right? That higher power and your intuition, your soul's purpose. But going back to alignment, feeling on purpose, and ease and flow, what could you share with the listeners that would give them maybe a few tips on how to access their own ease and flow?
I love to talk about this. And let me see if I can do it since people can't see me. But if you will picture in front of you a number 8, the infinity symbol. So it's like the number 8 that's on its side. And you have a downward slope and an uptake, if you will. And so if you start on the left side and you're sliding down, that side represents the answer to the question, what do you want? That's the number one question people should be asking. What do I want? And so when you are very clear about what you want, you're sliding down and transitioning And it's like a relay, like pass the torch, where you pass that over to spirit, God, higher power, and spirit, God, higher power responds to you on the uptake with, here are some possibilities for the how. Okay. And so they're passing it back to you, and you're on the uptake, and you say, okay, what do I want? I want to choose this option. And you pass it back to spirit, and spirit says, okay, here's the result or the effect from your cause, and I'm passing it back to you. And so this ease and flow is the partnership between you and spirit, for you saying, this is what I want, and spirit saying, this is how it's going to look with that choice. And so ease and flow. What do I want? Here's how. What do I want? Here's how. And there is not one thing in anyone's life that will not work for that process. And
right.
So to me, that's like the key to happiness. What do I want? And spirit saying, here's a possibility for how. Because what happens a lot of times is people, before let's say you want to start a business, and we get bogged down, or you want to, you set a goal, whatever it is, and it might be starting a business. We'll use that one. We try to figure out all of the how before we commit to the what. And we get bogged down and we get stuck. And then we get in that rut, and then we're digging our grave. When instead, make the decision about what you want, and then trust the universe to respond with that infinity response. And then you can choose. And so then your life becomes about making choices that are based on your values, that are based in you being in alignment with, your purpose and your gifts. And then you're in that ease and flow. And it's like rocking a baby.
Right.
You're just rocking along. And when you get frustrated or things are not going like you want, then you have mindfulness enough to focus, to bring your attention back to the breath and say, how am I out of that flow? And what do I want? I want to be back in that flow. What do I need to do to get what I want? Sometimes it's breathing. Sometimes it's eliminating or lessening the efforting. Sometimes it's better self-talk. Women are we're so experienced at condemning ourselves, right, and being so critical and shutting down, the divine within us, which, lessens our ability to be on purpose. It affects us as women. It affects us as wives, as mothers, as friends. Mm-hmm. We all got to get in the ease and flow. And we're in the ease and flow here at Breath of Life. And if you're not in the ease and flow, then we need to talk so I can help you get there.
Right, right. And something that came up as you were describing that is that I know that there's some people that, what do you want? Right? So there are some people that might not be able to answer that question because either they don't believe that they can have it, which is a huge block, or fear. Like you said, they focus on the how. How am I going to do this? Again, going back to belief and a lack of trust that it can be delivered. And so that's another question, which is, how can someone build self-trust or trust in the belief that they can have it, or that they can get there, to even answer the first question?
Well, I think it begins with a choice.
Right.
And I believe that the universe, and there's so many examples of this, the universe is always conspiring for your abundance, for your benefit. Right. Think about how, let's use the example of a seed. It's planted Perfect. In a dark, moist, dirty, soil. Okay. And there is a nanosecond where it ceases to become a seed and all of a sudden it's a plant. Same thing with conception. When a sperm meets an egg, there's a nanosecond where it switches. That same power, fuels the entire universe. It fuels the desires of your heart. And if we're open to receive that, we can sure get it because it's there. And the good news, which I think a lot of people miss, is that it's unlimited. There is an endless supply.
Right.
Can't use it up. You can't diminish it. It's always expanding. Is there any way that you can stop the sun from coming up? No. Is there any way that you can stop the moon from affecting the tides? No. It's that same power. God power, God source. And it is alive within each of us. But we have something called free will. We can't stop it, but we can prevent ourselves from experiencing it. And most of that occurs between the ears.
Yes.
So that's what I mean when I come back and I say, it begins with a choice. And so if you're the person that's got to dip your toe in the water and you can't, just jump off the diving board head first, then start, there's some books, E squared, E cubed, has some great mental exercises and things that you can do to help you begin to look for evidence. I think affirmations are very, very important because whatever you're believing, whatever you're telling yourself is what you're going to believe. And so, every day I say, I'm open to all goodness that's best for me.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
beautiful.
The beauty of that is that I don't have to be in charge of what that is. Because I do believe that I live in the direction and in the guidance of source energy. And as long as I'm making a choice to listen for that and then to be mindful, for example, the first couple of days when I heard you're going to, and some people think, well, that's just baloney. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I heard the voice of God directing me to do that. Mm-hmm. And I ignored it for, a week or so. And it just kept coming and kept coming. And finally I said something, to my husband about it. And he said, well, if that's what you really think you should do, we should do, then, we'll do it. And then 4 days, our house sold in 4 days. And 21 days later, we're in another city, in a new house, and we're reconciling. And so who's to say that Spirit did not divinely guide all of that to pave the way for our reconciliation? And I'll say that, since we've reconciled, our marriage has been better than it's ever been. We needed to go through those growing periods to discover who and what we are so that we could come back together. Because a lot of people think, well, marriage is 50-50. No, it's not. It's 100-100. Because you need to be whole when you become part of that relationship. People don't complete you. People complement you.
Another amazing C. Compliments.
There you go. I kind of got off on my tangent. Did I answer the question?
No, you did. I think that that's beautiful. I think that that's so amazing because, it's, again, it goes back to being divinely guided. And, I don't know if all of the listeners know this, but, fear is the opposite of love, right? There are only two things, love and fear. Everything that's not from love is typically from fear. And so I think that you explained it beautifully. And, when you look back at the what and the how and asking that question and, the choices and gaining that traction to move forward, asking that question on that infinity, the what, and then allowing the universe to bring the how, and trusting, right? So the belief system, trusting in that next step, trusting that everything's going to be okay is a lot for some people to do, because it's letting go of that control. And so one step at a time, you know, in your journey, you've shared that it was one step at a time. I mean, for me, I know me moving to Atlanta was something that I just did not want to do. And for 2 years, and I'm going to reflect back to mine, for 2 years, I did not want to be here. I'm not going to be here. And that was something on my journey that was a real big struggle. And, for our listeners who don't know, Dora and I know each other very well. And it was when I met you that I really got a message from Spirit. Now I'm going to cry. Like, this is where you're supposed to be.
Yes, it
you
is.
have something to do here. And I still don't know what that is, but I'm trusting in that. And I think that that's what is very powerful, is that when you finally let go of control, and sometimes you letting go of the reins is scary, but trusting that everything is going to be okay, trusting that everything is going to unfold as it should, that you're on the path, can sometimes be the greatest alignment fix. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, because you know what we're taught is that if you make the right decision, the right choice, you'll be rewarded. Think about the way that we parent our children sometimes. If you make the right decision, you'll be rewarded and showered with love. But if you make the wrong choice, you'll be punished, or someone will withhold their favor or their love. And I believe that that's not true. The universe is always waiting to reward you. It's waiting to reward you, just like it rewards that seed, just like it rewards that egg with the sperm, just like it rewards, you know, think about those of you who are a mother, the first time that you held your child. Was there ever any question of the emotion and the vibration of love that you felt? The universe is always waiting to give you that. It's waiting to give you more of that. But when you're holding on so tightly and you're efforting and you're not in the ease and flow, and you're resisting where you are and blooming where you're planted, or you're resisting figuring out and getting clear about what you want, you're blocking that. You're blocking the abundance. But we're not waiting to be punished. And a lot of people believe that, every choice is, going to bring punishment. And so it takes a while to shift the manifestation of that belief. But it begins with making a choice. I choose abundance. I choose love. My favorite hashtag when I tweet is choose love. Right. And some days that's easy. And you're completely in the flow. And some days it's not that easy. But that's where the benefits are found in the challenging parts of the journey.
Right.
And, how great is it to know that you don't have to travel that journey alone? Now, yes, there is some work that is self-work and nobody else can do it for you. And you're not going to be able to run from it forever. And you're not going to be able to, to hide from it or procrastinate with it, with all the variety of different ways that we learn to do that. But how cool is it that you have people, like me, that can say, here, take my hand. I cannot carry you, but I can walk side by side with you. And I can say, look, I've traveled this way before. I'm not you, but I know some shortcuts and I know some things that'll help you. And I can help you walk out of this hole and grave that you have dug for yourself.
Right.
You can leave the shame behind. You can leave the blame behind. You can leave the guilt behind, and you can turn your face to the light, because the light is what you are. And so basically, I guide people to remember who and what they are. That is powerful.
It is.
And I am so glad that you are in Atlanta.
Thank you. I am too now that I've accepted this.
But look, what a perfect example of when you say, okay, I surrender.
Right.
I'm awake. I'm seeking. I've just, I've told you this before, and will just declare it to everybody that will ever listen to this. This seeker thing is so important. All of those C's are so important. And the fact that you have said, okay, I'm listening. What am I being called for? Who am I being called to serve?
Right.
How can I be part of a greater community? How can I connect? How can I collaborate? That's the heart of a seeker.
Right. And I think, one of my favorite Dora-isms is, what is the clarity and awareness in this?
Oh, yeah. So if you're ever facing a challenge, just put it out there to the universe. Thank you for the clarity and awareness. Show me the wisdom that's being presented. Show me if this is my work. Show me if this is my stuff. If you're one of my clients had in front of me yesterday, and she said she had a person in her, she owns a consignment store, lovely lady. And she said, one of my clients was just going off about all this stuff that was going on in her life. And she said, I just looked at that, and for the first time, you've helped me to realize that's not my stuff, and I don't have to take that on. And she said, I just looked at her and I said, it sounds like you're so frustrated. That must be really hard.
Right.
And she said, working with you has totally helped me to reframe almost everything that's going on in my life and my relationships. And I feel such freedom.
Yeah. You said something earlier.
Yeah.
And it made me think, when you were saying, taking your hand, the only way to the other side is through.
Oh gosh, yes. We don't ever get over something. We just get through it. Right. And we grow through it. Right. More importantly, we grow through it.
Right. And that is huge, huge, because so many people, I think in this lifetime, or in this age that we're living in, everything is shortcuts and quick fix and pills and instant gratification. And I think that is so important for people to know, I can get past this. I have to go through it to get beyond it and to grow from it. But challenges are presented for our personal or professional growth, not as a punishment. And I think that relates back to something you said earlier is, oh, am I being punished for this? Or instead of asking, can I grow from this? Mm-hmm. Can I learn from this? Mm-hmm. So, okay, we're almost out of time. So I want to make sure that everybody knows how to find you, how to get in touch with you, where you hang out online if they're not in Atlanta. If you are in the Atlanta area, check out Breath of Life Kennesaw. If you are not, where should everyone find you?
Okay. Well, first, let me plug my entire team. You can find all of us and the Breath of Life Kennesaw Center for Healing Arts. You can find us on the web at Breath of Life CHA. That's Center for Healing Arts. So breathoflifecha.com. You can meet our staff, and in April we're adding several more people. So we're always continuing to grow. Together, collectively, we offer about 50 different services. Some are on the web and some are not yet. So we're working on that and, doing the best we can with that. I personally love to hang out on Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook at Dora Locklear Professional. I have a personal page that's Dora Locklear, but that's not where I meet my clients. So the professional is the one where I meet, and then I am in fact, this week and next week, I have my online business manager working on getting up scheduling page and things like that, because I'm starting to branch out beyond the people who meet me here in this office to work with people virtually. Awesome. So find me on Facebook and then go from there. We're putting up some goodies and some gifts and some freebies this week on my Facebook page. And so probably be up Wednesday or Thursday of this week. There's a 25 must-have actions for a successful and happy life, which has a lot of Dora-isms in it. And it's just a good general lighthearted guide to happiness and success. And we'll go from there.
Okay. And then can they find you on Facebook and Twitter? Is there a Facebook page for Breath of Life?
There is a Facebook page for Breath of Life. It's Breath of Life Kennesaw. All of our team post memes and educational links and personal services and things like that. That's a great place to go, and you don't have to be local to like Breath of Life Kennesaw. And if there's like specials and promotions that we have going on, classes that we're teaching, events, things like that, you'll always be able to find it there. And if you go to the website, breathoflifecha.com, you can subscribe to our events newsletter, and you'll be able to find out what we have going on locally, as well as virtual webinars and, calls and things like that we're doing, and who's doing it.
And do you have any special services that you're offering right now for our listeners that they can take advantage of?
I do. I have a special called D&C, which is Discovery and Clearing. It's a 75-point checklist that we go through to help you clear out those root energies. It can be done via Skype, via the phone, or in person.
And how do they access more information about that?
That information will be available sometime later today on my professional Facebook page, Dora Locklear Professional.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you came to share with me today and to share with all of our Meant for More listeners. I'm so blessed to have you in my life, and so grateful that you took the time out of your schedule to share with us today. Do you have any final words for our listeners?
The most important thing is that you choose love, and you begin with yourself.
I love it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dora, for being here. And this wraps up episode 3 of the Meant for More show. From there to here with Dora Locklear. Until next time, keep seeking.
Thanks for tuning in to Meant for More, the Seeker's Guide to Success. But the fun doesn't end here. Head over to KristenLloyd.com for your Seeker's Guide workbook filled with exercises to help you go from mediocre to magically magnificent.